Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile, and this is the Erzetich Audio Thalia, and these are my Honest Audiophile impressions. I want to thank Erzetich Audio for providing the Thalia for review. I also want to thank Reviews by Wavetheory for getting me in contact with Erzetich Audio and also getting me interested in Erzetich Audio products. So thank you very much, Wavetheory, for setting all this up. It is much appreciated. If you haven't already, please check out Wavetheory's YouTube channel and subscribe to the channel and tell them I sent you. Erzetich Audio and Reviews by Wavetheory, you both rock. Alright, so the Erzetich Audio Thalia. This will set you back 599 euros or $651 USD. It is a on-ear open back headphone. It has 40mm titanium coated dynamic drivers, 32 ohms of impedance, wasn't able to determine what the sensitivity is, and it weighs 270 grams. The Thalia. It comes in this rather large box for an on-ear. It's huge and it's just full of foam to protect, so not even gonna bother to open it. You do get a couple of accessories. You get some paperwork, and you get a Erzetich bag. It's a nice bag, but why not a case? Something that's a little bit more durable. And then you get a cable. And this cable does not fit a headphone. This cable feels like an IEM cable, and it looks like one. It feels very cheap, and I wish that it came with something a little more robust. It is nice and short, though, for portable use, which is a nice thing. Terminates with 3.5s into the cups. You get a little red wrap to tell you which one is the right side. And then it terminates to a 3.5, and you do get a 1/4-inch adapter. Thankfully, these are 3.5s going into the ear cups, so you can change out the cable if you so desire. Alright, so the Thalia. Very, very interesting design. And I'm going to get this out of the way pretty quickly. I don't like on-ear headphones. And so I decided to give them a shot to do the review because I wanted to hear Erzetich audio gear, and this was the first Erzetich product to be offered to me. And then also included in the package was the Mania. So that's the reason why the Mania went out first, was because it took me a long time just to get the desire to listen to these. And then the build of them and comfort is a significant issue. So you got this metal headband. You have this knob here, which you can spin, and then your sliders go up and down, and you get it to the position you want, and you tighten it down. Once it's tightened down, it's not a problem. The issue is when it's on your head and you're trying to adjust and get it, and it's just a janky, annoying thing to fix. And so if you don't have a lot of patience, it could be frustrating. But everything's metal, and then you go to these beautiful wood cups. Now, the cups are extremely nice. I like the look of them. You can get them in various colors, which is nice. Then you have a metal grate, which says Thalia, and you can see that it's open back. And overall, it's well built, but it doesn't fold, and it's very, very stiff. And so you're conformed, it's this shape or nothing. You really can't bend it and get it to position in place. It's a very, this is the way it is. You do have a little itty bitty bit of padding on the top. We got to talk about these pads. They are extremely small. Now, if you get those little mini donuts for breakfast, that's what these look like. It's about that size. It's one of those small donuts that you can get from like Hostess or Little Debbie. things like that. That's like the shape of them. I think Krispy Kreme actually makes some donuts now this size as well. There's barely any padding and barely any cush. And yeah, you can't really get even 2 fingers in there. It's about 1.5 knuckle size for the whole. It's extremely small pads, and they are not comfortable at all. Put them on your head, and all of a sudden, even though they only weigh 270 grams, you have a vice grip on your head. It's extremely tight and very snug, and it just pushes down on the ears extremely, extremely hard. Now, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's extremely, it just, so depending on the shape of your head and whether or not you like on-ear pads, these are extremely comfortable, uncomfortable. I get a hot spot on the top of my head, and then my ears get extremely warm. 20 minutes, 30 minutes max is how long I can wear these before I'm just taking them off and taking a significantly long time to put them back on. Just because I kind of dread it. They're not comfortable. The Erzetich Thalia is a fairly easy headphone to drive. I was able to drive it with pretty much anything from a dongle to a DAP with no issues whatsoever. Desktop was not an issue at all. Every single thing on my desk drove it very easily, barely had to move the volume knob. But for DAPs and dongles, it was, 50% volume at most. They're extremely easy to drive. Some of the DAPs that I used were the Sony WM1A, the Sony NWA105, and then also the Hibby R5 Gen 2. They all powered it very easily. As I said, dongles powered it with ease, no problems whatsoever. So extremely easy to drive, which is a good thing for an on-ear headphone, which is pretty much going to be used in a portable setting. Now they're open back, so isolation of outside noises really doesn't exist on these. You're going to hear everything around you. You may just have to turn your music down slightly to carry on a conversation. And I guess that's a good thing while you're going around the neighborhood. If you are crossing a lot of streets or you're in a busy area, that type of stuff. But you're going to annoy a lot of people that you're sitting next to or sharing offices with, as they leak a lot of noise, a lot of sound. So, an interesting choice, but they look cool. All right, how do they sound? So, the Thalia. Gotta say, for all the other issues that I have with the Thalia, build, comfort, they sound really good. I was rather impressed by them. So the bass of the Thalia has a nice bit of mid-bass thump to it. It's mid-bass focused. There's a little bit of sub-bass grumble and rumble there, but not a whole lot. These are more mid-bass and upper bass focused, and you get some nice thump, some nice slam, some good punch, a little bit of kick, and everything's just there. You just really get engaged with the bass, and it moves you, and it puts a smile on your face and just keeps you engaged. And it has a nice tonality to it, and has very good details, and it's fairly nicely resolved. Overall, the bass is very engaging and fun, and yet at the same time detailed and resolving. The mids of the Thalia are very pleasurable. The upper mids do have some elevation to them, and at times can be a little bit shouty and have moments of sibilance, and maybe a little bit bright for some. But for the most part, the mids have a nice warmth to them and good body, and overall they're just engaging a little bit on the lush side, especially in the lowers. The uppers, with that little bit of extra energy, can be slightly fatiguing, but for the most part, the tonality is very good, and it has nice details and resolution, and I really like the mids. They're very engaging, and they kind of have this soothing presence about them that just kind of envelops you and puts you in the moment. And then the treble extends very nicely. You have a lot of air and a lot of space. The lower treble is kind of like the upper mids, where it's a little bit more elevated and has moments of hotness, and has a little bit too much energy and sparkle at times, but for the most part it's pretty well controlled. The tonality is nice, timbre's good, and overall the detail retrieval and resolution is very nice. Detail retrieval of the Thalia is really good. It has a nice ability to bring things out into the music and portray it in a very good way in resolution. It resolves it nicely. There's no issues with harshness or glariness or smeariness. This is a very nicely resolving headphone. And then tone and timbre is also very good. It has a nice natural approach to things, except for that upper mids and lower treble region that's just a little bit too much push. For the most part, it sounds very natural. At times, it can just be a little bit on the edge of being unnatural in those upper mids, lower treble region. But for the most part, it's a very, very natural sounding headphone. Soundstage. Soundstage of the Thalia is actually rather impressive. I really like the Thalia's soundstage. Has a nice big wide open space, and it's just very open, and it kind of puts you in this amphitheater type of setting, and you're just kind of mesmerized at how big things are. And then it has nice depth, and it does good job with the imaging and tracking things across the stage. There's no stuttering, no jitters, nothing like that. It just really, everything just moves across as it should, and it's really good at placement. It's not super pinpoint laser point perfect, but it's right in there. It's right in there. It does a good job of letting you dissect the stage, and it just kind of brings everything together and just kind of goes, wow, that sounds really cool. I've never heard that before in such a small little device. I just wish it was more comfortable. So the Thalia, I love the sound of it, but it is just so uncomfortable to wear. But it reminds me of the sound of a headphone that's a little bit bigger, but actually is lighter and more comfortable. And that's the Audio-Technica R70X. Now the R70X definitely is larger. Not quite as built as well, but it is way more comfortable. It just plops on your head and disappears. It's like you don't even notice that the R70X is on your head. Definitely doesn't look as nice. It's got this black grill on it, and the pads are way softer, but not really that attractive. But the R70X sounds better. So the R70X has 45mm drivers, and it is harder to drive, being somewhere around 470 ohms or something like that. But the R70X sounds better. Has a little bit more body, is a little bit more natural sounding throughout, is not as elevated in the upper mids and lower treble, and has a more natural tone and timbre. And overall, it's just better controlled, and it is a little bit better detailed in resolving. So overall, I find that the R70X's soundstage is about as wide as the Thalia, but it has better depth, and it does a better job with being more precise in its placement. Thalia. I like the Thalia in sound. If it was more comfortable, maybe folded up, was a little bit more flexible, had bigger cups on it, it would be a headphone that I would use on a regular basis. But this, I just can't do it. As good as it sounds, I just don't want to listen to it. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on the screen, subscription links and notification bells. If you haven't already, please check those off. Don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video, and check out all the links down below. There's all kinds of information on there regarding how you contact the channel, follow the channel, support the channel. Also, there's ways that you can connect with reviews by Wavetheory and Erzetich Audio. Speaking of supporting the channel, there's also links down there for my Patreon and YouTube memberships. I do want to give a shout out to all of my members through Patreon and YouTube memberships for all that you provide to the channel. It's much appreciated. I greatly appreciate everything that you give to the channel. It is greatly appreciated on a daily basis. Thank you very much. Also, if you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out those links, because you can give one-time gifts through PayPal or Venmo, or monthly subscriptions through Patreon and YouTube memberships. And with those memberships and Patreon, you can get access to my private Discord servers, and also there's other options for one-time or monthly one-on-one conversations with me and all that kind of stuff. So check out those links. And lastly, don't forget to enjoy the music and that honesty is the best policy.